Welcome back to another episode of ROC Boys Football, taking another look at a 2023 NFL mock draft for the Seattle Seahawks. This is not our first one we've done, and before we even get into it, I really do just want to say thank you guys so much. The Seattle Seahawks fans, you guys have been just above and beyond with all the support you guys have shown. We've talked a lot of Seattle Seahawks mock drafts, some draft strategy, and how they can approach this 2023 NFL draft, and the support, the feedback you guys have shown truly does mean a lot. So if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We do appreciate all the support. And more importantly, let us know in the comment section how you guys feel about it, right? Took Jalen Carter 5th overall last time he ran a mock draft. A lot of good discussion in the comment sections. And then side note, Washington Husky fans just getting into our summer scouting as well. So if you do like talking some college football as well, get locked in. We do appreciate all the support you guys have shown. Without further ado, though, let's get into this mock draft. Number 5 overall. We're not going to go Jalen Carter because here's my pitch. If I'm the GM here sitting here at 5, Jalen Carter is my selection. I think the upside is just too good to pass up. I think Pete Carroll, you look at potential landing spots for Seattle. I've kind of been banging the table for Jalen Carter is a perfect fit in Seattle, right? Pete Carroll cut his teeth coaching college football. He knows how to deal with some players who might lack that maturity. And then second of all, you look around the league, there's not many teams that have coaches who've been there for 10 plus years, have implemented that culture, and look back at the team in 2022. Team probably had no business being as good as it did. I think that's a testament to Pete Carroll and the culture he's implemented in that locker room. You bring a guy back like Bobby Wagner. I personally think it just makes too much sense to not to it just Jalen Carter seems to be a perfect fit, right? In terms of reaching his potential, getting on the right track off the field. Seattle seems to be a good landing spot. But if you're not going to go Jalen Carter, Tyree Wilson's probably the pick. And you look back, Tyree Wilson, if he works out at the combine, we might be talking about him and Will Anderson being two of the best defensive prospects in this draft. You watch Tyree Wilson's film. I was not sold on Tyree Wilson early because he just didn't really have much of a plan. And I still think that he's a little bit raw, not very polished in terms of a pass rusher. But what you can't ignore, and what Pete Carroll certainly will not ignore for how much he loves traits, is how powerful Tyree Wilson is. The burst he has off the line of scrimmage, the power and length he has in his hands. Like, this dude can go right through pretty much any tackle that he sees. He's a bull in a china shop. I think he needs to work on using that length a little bit more in terms of pass rush technique. But in terms of the raw traits Tyree Wilson has, he's absolutely elite. Seattle wants to develop some better pass rush and just some more physicality on the defensive line of scrimmage. Tyree Wilson, 6'6", 275 pounds, can play a lot of different spots on the defensive front and has that physicality that I think Seattle will be looking for in this draft. If it's not Jalen Carter, I think it's going to be Tyree Wilson here at 5. And then there's a certain guy that might be available here at pick 20. See if he is. Brian Brazee. I think this would make a lot of sense. And I get doubling down on the defensive line is a little concerning, but you look at that team and where you want to address for this team to be special. I think it's the defensive line. Brian Brazee, you go back to him in high school, was a freak. You just Google Brian Brazee high school highlights. This dude is a superhero. And then he goes to Clemson as a true freshman and looks phenomenal. Then he tears his ACL as a second-year guy. Never really has looked the same in 2022. But if you want to go and trust what you saw from early sophomore year and all of freshman year, Brian Brazee is the ceiling. And we talk about Jalen Carter's ceiling. Brian Brazee's ceiling is pretty dang high too. I think that would make a lot of sense in terms of, are you worried about your defensive line anymore? Not after picking Tyree Wilson and Brian Brazee. Another guy I would certainly be considering if he's on the board is Brian Branch. I think that would make just a lot of sense in terms of you want to get better at stopping the run and have some coverage and speed on the field. Brian Branch would be the pick. But Seattle, I think you want to address that defensive line. I think Brian Brazee would make a lot of sense for Seattle. And again, Pete Carroll loves the traits, loves the athlete. Both Tyree Wilson and Brian Brazee are just next level athletes. Pick 37. Again, if you want, we've picked wide receiver at pick 20. We've picked wide receiver at pick 37. And the Seattle fans haven't been huge fans of it. Now, I still wouldn't mind a guy if Josh Downs is on the board, taking a guy like Josh Downs, because you're going to have Dwayne Eskridge as your slot guy outside of Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. I don't love it, but you take a look at the wide receivers in general. I really do like the depth you have. A guy like Jalen Hyatt, Michael Wilson, A.T. Perry's another guy, Kayshon Boutte. There's really good wide receivers that you'll be able to get early day 3, late day 2. So maybe you're passing, but know what you can't really address, I think, later in this round is that interior offensive line. And you got this is the sweet spot to address that interior offensive line. Now for Seattle, I think I'm leaning Steve Avila just in terms of you need a plug and play guy that you feel pretty good about. Steve Avila is a guy that can play center, he can play guard, and he can play both at a high level. I also really do like John Michael Schmitz, but in terms of versatility, I feel most confident that Steve Avila can do both at a high level. John Michael Schmitz probably can play guard too, but Steve Avila is a guy that I feel so confident, had a phenomenal Senior Bowl. He's a good athlete. He's extremely strong. Do I think he can be an All-Pro? Maybe not, but in terms of a day one dude that you can trust, Steve Avila is certainly that guy. Pick 52 coming up next, and you look at this is where I think it gets fun because I think you satisfied most of the big needs that Seattle has. Is 52 where you're pulling the wide receiver card here, looking at some of the guys that are best available? I still think you could get better at linebacker. Do we have any? Do we have Trent Simpson still on the board? We do. Trent Simpson would make too much. So Seattle, I get you bring back Devin Bush. It's a 1-year contract, or not Bobby Wagner, but you also bring in Devin Bush. And I like how Seattle addressed that linebacker spot. So you don't need to reach for a linebacker. You're not reaching for Trent Simpson at 52 in terms of all you want in a linebacker from a trait standpoint. And again, in Pete Carroll's mind, that's what he does. I don't think you could take the college football coach out of Pete Carroll. He's looking for guys who are raw athletes that he can coach up to be really good NFL players. Trent Simpson has linebacker 1 traits. I have Jack Campbell as my linebacker 1, but Trent Simpson, linebacker 2. But in terms of traits, he's the best linebacker in this class, can do it all in terms of great length, carrying tight ends over the middle of the field, really good in space in terms of tackling running backs in the flat. I think he needs a little bit more development on those instincts and how he takes on blocks. And that's probably why you're seeing him slide a little bit. But I think you just got to go get a really good football player and a really good athlete in Trenton Simpson there at 52. And again, linebacker is probably not a pressing need, but you probably still want to address it because I don't mean Devin Bush coming off multiple knee injuries. Bobby Wagner obviously getting old. I love bringing him back, but only on a 1-year deal. I think, for one, it makes a lot of sense. Trenton Simpson, Bobby Wagner kind of coaching him up. 83 went Trey Hodges Tomlinson. That would be, like, again, more of a nickel guy. He played that boundary position for TCU. But, again, a lot of y'all made very good points in terms of, like, that's not a Pete Carroll guy, right? And he doesn't have the length. He doesn't have the size. You know who does have the length and the size? And I think Pete Carroll would really like at that cornerback spot. One, Eli Ricks. We've taken him a lot. We're not going to take him this time because I haven't really gotten a chance to talk about my guy, Jalen Jones, who, again, is going to probably be graded out as a top 75 guy and right up Pete Carroll's alley in terms of what he wants at a cornerback. He took a stab at Tariq Woolen, who was a raw prospect with just great length and speed last year. Go get another guy in Jalen Jones in terms of just raw, but long and fast and big. That's what Pete Carroll likes. And I think Jalen Jones would be a guy that's much higher on Pete Carroll's draft board than a lot of other guys. Julius Brents from Kansas State's another guy to keep your eyes on too, because very almost like a Tariq Woolen clone there. Pick 123. Again, sticking to probably just best player available here. They've mixed up their rankings a little. Kendrick Coburn would be a nice addition to Brian Brazier in terms of just a one tech run stuffer, 2-gapper. I don't hate what's the running back situation looking like, because this is a sweet spot. I know you have Kenneth Walker, but do you have because you lose some guys like DJ Dallas? That's about it. I think it'd be a really nice opportunity to get a young running back on a rookie deal here. Let's take a look at the running backs because 123, 151 is probably where you're going. We're probably going to wait, though, because I still like a lot of running backs on the board here. Do we have Christopher Smith is a nice guy. I think he just lacks the athleticism, but I do like Christopher Smith. Olu would be a nice guy. Say we got John. Well, we did. We could go Olu here, too. Olu's going to be such a good center at the next level, in my opinion. I think him and Steve Avila. I think you take Olu here. I think you have two starters. We did say we'd address the wide receiver room, and I'm getting distracted with myself. We said we'd address the wide receiver room. Bryce Ford Wheaton's like a DK Metcalf clone, so I don't know if I'm going him. I think Ronnie Bell would be a nice addition. Quite frankly, a lot of these wide receivers would be nice additions over Dwayne Eskridge. Kind of look for more of a slot guy. Ronnie Bell, Raheem Jarrett's a nice one too. We'll wait on Raheem Jarrett. I wouldn't mind picking him. He goes early in these drafts. Raheem Jarrett, Pete Carroll, 5-star. Like Raheem Jarrett's smaller, but really, really good after the catch. I think we're gonna go best player available. We're not gonna reach. We're gonna keep building through the trenches and go get a guy in Olu Timmy from Michigan. Day one starter. I think you draft Olu and Steve Avila. I think you get 2 day one starters immediately. For both guys who are veterans, played a lot of college football. I really like both those picks. 151. We could go running back, or if Charlie Jones is on the board. I really like Charlie Jones from Purdue. Is he on the board? That hurts bad. That hurts bad. Charlie Jones would be a really nice selection. Let's go check out that running back because, again, like you have Kenneth Walker. I don't think you have another guy. And what does Kenneth Walker really struggle with? He really struggles with catching the ball out of the backfield. And you have 2 guys in Eric Gray and Kenny McIntosh. I shouldn't say Kenneth Walker struggles with it. We just haven't seen him do it much. Out of Michigan State, he had like 5 catches all of 2021. So I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying, for one, you want to add another running back to the room after losing some guys to free agency. And 2, maybe get a guy that complements Kenny Walker a little bit. And I think that'd be Eric Gray, who, 1, is a top 5 running back on my board. I love Eric Gray. In terms of being elusive at the next level, very similar to Kenneth Walker. He's very good at it. And again, I don't think you want to be rocking with DJ Dallas as your running back 2 heading into the year. Jalen Monroe Cropper he would be a really nice guy. He's a guy that's growing on me. I got to his film a little bit late. I like his game a lot. I know you guys have shouted him out too. So for at least the Seattle Seahawks fans, we'll go get a guy in Jalen Monroe Cropper who, again, I got to his film a little bit late. I do like his game. I do like how he fits into Seattle's. He doesn't have that size, but again, more of a slot guy. I think he's probably an immediate upgrade from Dwayne Eskridge or whoever else Seattle's playing. What is the wide receiver room looking like? Because it's bad. The DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and then it's really weak. And I almost wish we could go back and take a wide receiver even a little bit earlier because that's just not a good wide receiving group. It's just bad. Yeah, maybe even go and address that position earlier. You're getting to the point where you're just going best player available here. Trey Dean's a guy that I like at that safety spot. I think he plays special teams really well. They've added a lot of new names. I like this. Troy Brown, linebacker, is a guy I like. I like Trey Dean. The Trey Dean ran so slow at the combine, but he's a guy that he could be a really good box safety. He's a physical freak. I think he's got really long arms too. He's a guy that's grown on me, but did run really slow at the 4.75 or something extremely slow. Jordan McFadden. I think he's more of a guard at the next level. Mikael Jones is a really nice addition here late. Keontae Thompson. Okay, I want to go add another wide receiver. Just at this point, it's just such a problem looking at this roster. Like you got to get better at wide receiver. Do we have anyone that could be kind of an interesting guy? We've added a lot of names here. Mitchell Tinsley, I like from Penn State. Y'all know I like Justin Shorter. I think he's very similar to DK Metcalf. He's really big. He's really fast. A former 5-star. I wish you got a guy that balanced out DK Metcalf a little bit, but Justin Shorter, like you got 2 really big wide receivers who can run really well in that offense. You got to add more bodies to the wide receiver room at some point. All right, let's check out our PFF grades this out. Tyree Wilson, solid A again. I would go Jalen Carter there and then maybe edge at 20, maybe a guy like Miles Murphy, maybe a guy like Nolan Smith, but you kind of reverse the order here. You go edge and then interior. Again, the thing you like about Tyree Wilson, he can play multiple spots on that front. Steve Avila, like not a sexy pick, but a lot of Seattle fans are saying we got to build the trenches. You got to eat your vegetables. Steve Avila is the definition of eat your vegetables pick. Trenton Simpson, Again, not a biggest concern for Seattle after they addressed it through free agency, but if he's there at 52, I mean, I feel like you can't pass him up. Jalen Jones, the prototypical cornerback for a guy like Pete Carroll. Olu Timmy, again, Steve Avila and Olu, 2 day one starters for Seattle there. Eric Gray, Jalen Monroe Cropper, and then 2 Gators in Trey Dean and Justin Shorter. Solid mock draft. I feel like I like the other one a little bit better. Again, playing around with some different scenarios. And again, I can't thank you guys enough for all the support you guys have shown. So again, if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate all the support you guys have shown. And we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.